And at this stage, I paint very thinly with a little bit of turpentine. I'm just building into, right now, we're looking for some of the shadow areas, and of course, you want to keep them rich. I mean, the one thing about your shadows, if you push them too dark at a distance, things will seem closer than what they're supposed to be. And because of the proximity of all of this, the fact that he is quite close, I'll have to play and keep a lot of light and life in them. And then as I get further into the painting, as I get everybody in, I can go back and make adjustments. But at this point, like I said, I want to keep them very atmospheric and transparent. And when I do paint shadows like this, one must remember that this is where your atmosphere is in the shadow, and it's in where the light is hitting, where our volume is. But yet they are dark, going to be dark where the light is. And oddly enough, to do that, I am mixing cobalt blue light with cadmium orange, oddly enough, and just a touch of what's called raw umber natural to create this sort of a gray shadow in these rocks, which are granite and other odds and ends up on the North Shore. So you get a lot of beautiful colors. Now, when we think of grays, a lot of time people are going to just think of, oh, you just take black and you mix white with it, which, yeah, that makes gray, but if it's not dealt with properly, it's a rather boring gray. So I like to create all of my grays using what are called blue grays, red grays, orange grays, yellow grays. And so there's just a lot of different combinations that I use to make my grays. Sometimes you might find yourself actually even mixing red and green to get a brown and then pushing it into a grayish realm. But again, like I said, right now we're just playing with cad orange and cobalt blue with a little bit of raw umber. And I'm kind of working off of three different things with a little color sketch I did up at Split Rock last July. And one would think that standing right on the shoreline like I was, you'd be bug-free. I was eaten alive by mosquitoes when I was up there. I couldn't believe it. It was a really warm day. I was actually in the sun, but after about an hour and 20 minutes, figured that's it. I can't deal with it anymore because I was constantly swatting my hand because the bugs are so bad. So I'm working from the sketch I did and then my color study and all that, also with some photographic aids, which, fortunately or unfortunately, you do have to use every now and then on something this size, this scale. So I am trained from working from life, but because I work from life so much, I can use these as aids to get the result that I do want. The other thing too is I'm going to have my shadows a little, you can catch them on the little bit warmer side right here, because the whole thing about painting also is dealing with your warm and cool balance. And with that said, the water line right here, you'll have some reflections going in, but I want to have these nice, a little bit of warmth to them. So when I come in with these blue grays in this area, especially back here, it's going to be really light. There'll be that push-pull because of the warm, cool back and forth. Unfortunately, my stomach is growling. They're probably picking that up. And you can see this is kind of like a scrubbing, so I'm utilizing the shadow, but again, I'm taking that deepness and I'm toning it down just a little bit to play off, and these all will be blended later on. I kind of keep building into them, so this is just a very preliminary start. And what I do is, if I am thinning the color out, at this stage of the game, I'm just using a little bit of Old English turpentine to kind of break the color down, to get some of these transparencies I want. And then, of course, I push the paint a little differently. And by doing that, it helps the paint dry a lot faster. So like when you're out on location, for instance, doing an oil sketch, when you do your first blocking, which is what I'm doing right now, you are using a fair amount of turpentine, because when you're out on location, you want to get all of your volumes, masses, etc., blocked in as quickly as possible, because when you're outside, you generally have about a 2.5 hour window to play with your light source remaining somewhat the same. So that's why when you're out painting landscapes, you're out in the morning from, I suppose 8:30 to about 10:30, 10:45. Then there's a big shift as the sun gets a little higher in the sky. And then, of course, in the afternoon, what you're going to do is go out there, 4:30, 5 o'clock to about 7. And of course, this time of the year, I think the sun's probably going down about pretty close to 9 o'clock. So you do have another window of color. So as a landscape painter, you'll watch these different windows of light change, and you can actually go out and do several evening paintings or several morning paintings, depending on what kind of light you're trying to capture. But right now, we're just dealing with the left down to the right light source. Just a lot of interesting colors in all this granite. And I want to do larger kind of planes of it. Let's see, I want that darker. Yeah, the old coffee and water just working away there.